to tell me when you show yourself to me. I'll be fine, who my baby will be tonight. It's all I need, somebody that'll only care for me, somebody I can give her time and ring, someone in this puzzle who can be my missing piece. You know I don't need anything else this Christmas Eve. Just want someone to be with under the shining tree.
오늘은 이렇게 입고 출근해 보려고 합니다. 오랜만에 제가 겨울에 종종 즐겨 입는 털자켓 다시 한번 꺼내 입어봤어요. 이너로는 비슷한 색감의 브이넥 니트 받쳐 입고, 요즘 즐겨 입고 있는 자라의 흑청 바지 착용해봤습니다. 귀걸이는 요 물방울 모양의 귀걸이로 골라봤어요. 가방은 지난주와 같은 반로의 갈색 가방 들고 나가보려고 합니다. 그럼 전 이렇게 입고 다녀올게요.
cared much for winter. Ice and snow leaves me totally cold. But something's up each year in December. I love it like a miner loves gold. It's never about the presents, turkey or the Christmas tree. It's all about that glow in my baby's eyes, like a fire inside of me. My baby's just crazy about Christmas. Listen to that kitten, the way she purrs. Something in the air this time of the year. She's crazy about Christmas. I'm crazy. All the deeds that I do to please her. Nothing that I wouldn't do. I give my babe whatever she wants. I catch a reindeer if she wants me to. My baby's got a thing for Santa. She giggles whenever he's near. I grow myself a beard in time for Christmas. I keep it throughout the year. My baby's just crazy about Christmas. Listen to that kitten, the way she turns. Something in the air this time of the year. She's crazy about Christmas. I'm crazy about her.
오늘은 이렇게 입고 출근해 보려고 합니다. 제가 몇 년째 즐겨 입고 있는 빈티지 코트 오늘도 한번 꺼내 입어봤고요. 이너로는 좀 깔끔한 블랙 티셔츠랑 기본 핏감의 슬랙스 착용해봤습니다. 좀 심플하게 입고 싶은 날이라서 오늘은 스카프도 같은 색감으로 맞춰봤어요. 걸리적거리지 않도록 귀걸이도 작은 귀걸이로 골라봤습니다. 여기에 골드 포인트가 들어간 에떼 숄더백 들고 출근해 보도록 하겠습니다. 다녀올게요.
leaves me totally cold. But something's up each year in December. I love it like a miner loves gold. It's never about the presents, the turkey or the Christmas tree. It's all about that glow in my baby's eyes that lights a fire inside of me. My baby's just crazy about Christmas. Just listen to that kitten, the way she purrs. There's something in the air this time of the year. She's crazy about Christmas, and I'm crazy about her. All the deeds that I do